Hello everyone, you are welcome back to my platform. I'm making a tutorial on this turban today. Now, what is unique about this turban, or the reason I'm actually making these tutorials, is the fact that the design starts from the bottom of the turban. So that's the reason I'm making the tutorials. So I have my cap base prepared, and then I also prepared the part I'll be using to design it. The width of that part was uh, 7 inches, please. Then after sewing became 3.5. So the wideness now for this part I'm using for the design, or the loop that I'm going to use, is 3.5 inches, and that is on a fold. Then the next thing I need to use is, I want to use yash pad. Of course, you can use foam, but I chose yash pad. This is that thick type of yash pad. But if you have foam, that half inches foam is okay. You have the 1 inch foam, the half inch. I'm not sure we have quarter inch, but we have half inch. So if you have that very flat one, which is the half inch, you can use that one for this project. But I am using the very thick yash pad, that one that is bouncing like there is foam inside. All right, so I trimmed two of it, and then I'll fix it into the loop that I have made, ensuring that the line I used in sewing it is facing the middle, so that it will not be at the side or in any position where it can cause some kind of obstruction or some kind of unpleasant look on the turban. So when it's on the middle there, you can always use it to face the direction you want, and it will be okay. All right, so right now I am done fixing the yash pad into the loop that I prepared. Now, what made this design unique is that the design, or the loop, started from inside. So when you wear it, that loop is actually touching your head. It's not like the other design that you just tie this loop now and fix it on top. It came from the inside, and that's the reason I'm making this video. So to do it, I'll just rest the turban base on the loop, and then I will gather it. I'll gather the turban base just the way you are seeing now, and then I will tie the loop. I will tie the loop. That's the only way this design can start from the inside. If you don't do it like this, the design cannot come from the inside. So for it to come from the inside, you place the turban on top of it, and then you tie the loop. You tie it. All right. Now, when you tie, it depends on the direction you decide to take. But you can see my direction. I use the front to cross the back, and then I will now pass it through with my hand to the other side, and then I'll pull it together. When I pull it together, I will not just leave it. I will use my hand to rearrange it. You understand? Turn the left and the right hand side so that it can become flat. I will turn it to make it flat. So I need the flatness so that when I'm sewing it, there will be no obstruction. So I have to ensure that it is flat, and it is with my hand I will do that. So now that it is flat, I will just pin the two together first. I don't want to sew it along with the turban. If I want to sew it along with the turban, I will pin it to the turban before sewing, but I don't want to sew it along. I want to attach it separately. So I'll close the turban now and then take the measurement for the head sides. Usually between 10 and a half and 11 is okay. So, but for this particular one, I'm using 10. You can even use 9. You know that where the loop has taken can be up to 3 inches and it's part of the length for the head. So you can use 9 inches. It will be okay. But for this particular project, I used 10. So I'll quickly pin it through because you might not see me when I'm going to sew it, but I'll pin it through and then show you how you are supposed to sew it. So right now, I'll stretch the turban from one end to the other. Make sure that it is lapping on each other and it is resting perfectly. Then I'll pin. This part that I'm pinning, I'll take it to my machine and sew it. I'm just pinning it for you for the purpose of clarity. I want you to see how it will look after sewing. So assuming I am sewing now, I'll just sew it the way you are seeing the chalk now, the edge. So you can see that the line is not straight. It is intentional because this is a body pleat turban. So um, while you sew the base can just be like 10 inches, while the remaining part can go about 15 or 14 inches. So let's turn it and see. Okay. So now that I am done turning it, remember that I have not sewn the design, which is the loop on top. I'll be sewing that. So now you can see how it looks, and the loop came from the inside, and of course it is so beautiful. So um you can as well lose this top at this point if you feel like what you've done is not okay. So you can see now how it is. eh? So you can now repeat your tying if you feel like. So long you've not sewn to the cap. That this is one of the reason I did not sew it to the cap immediately, because you can see the reason to repeat your tying. So if there is any need to repeat your tying after sewing the cap and closing it, you can then repeat your tying. And then something that just crossed my mind, the design where you tied now, look for a way to secure it, because if you don't, it will give way at a point. So you can just use hot glue to secure some sensitive parts there, or if possible, if you can be very neat, then you can use a needle and thread to sew it. So it will help you to just keep the style in place. You can pin it if you like. Then to do the finishing at the back, you just sew the lines, that line at the back, you sew it to the line at the on that turban back as well. So this is how the turban will look at finishing. You see that the loop came from the inside. When I saw this style, I said no, it will be good for me to like put up the video for those persons that might be wondering how they were able to achieve that. So it's very, very easy, very simple. So I have sewn the design to the turban. So the next thing I'll do is that I will use loose stitches to like pull it together. which will enable the cap to be smaller and also help in the finishing of the styling of the cap. So after doing that, this is what I have. Now it's not compulsory you use a body pleated turban for it. You can use a plain turban without creating a body pleat. Is that okay? So you can do any one that you think is okay. So something just came to my mind. There's this the part where the loop pass through is a thing of choice. You can decide to close it, that is by sewing it. But if you don't feel like, you can leave it. You can as well use hot glue, but I don't advise hot glue because it will give way after some time. So if you decide to sew it, you turn it over and then take the opening inward, and you use your needle and thread to carefully do a good finishing. That is a thread color that we match, you understand, to carefully do a good finishing on that edge. So with that, the opening at the back there will no longer be there. So let me just show you how how that part will look after you sew it. So after sewing, that particular part now will be closed and will no longer open. It will no longer give way. So this is it. This is how the turban is, and this is how the loop is resting, or the design is resting on the turban. Is a perfect one. Your color mixture completely depend on you. Is that okay? So bye for now.